Hello, House Heroes family. How you doing? It is Tuesday Night Live.
Welcome to the House Heroes and the Wham Fam. Tonight we combine each other. We want to give you the best possible content. We're looking at a fantastic night tonight. We're looking at the April numbers and then what is May and going forward in the future. What does those numbers look like and what are we looking at in the future? So we're excited to give you that information tonight. We have a lot of stuff going on here. We have the housing information. We have the unemployment. What do we actually see in the unemployment to break those numbers down? So guys, we are very interactive. If you have any questions or anything, please interact. First of all, say hi to us. Hi everybody out there. Give us a shout out. Hit the notification button if you want to know we go live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Tonight we stumble a little bit. It's been a kind of crazy day for us. About 10 minutes late or so. But most Tuesday nights we are 9 o'clock live.
Absolutely. We're constantly getting new technology here in the studio. And it always throws us for a loop at the last minute. So today, one of the two internet service providers was down. So it's always got to be fun.
Yeah.
Anyways, Troy, so what are you seeing out there in the market?
Well, first of all, it's been kind of just that craziness. I think that since we're looking at in the state of California that we're relaxing, we're in phase 2 piece of the release of this COVID-19, that the governor's come up with, and we're just feeling that all that pent up demand that people have had to get out and open their businesses up and go shopping and have a drink. It's starting to feel like it's one step a little slow. So, but the housing market, of course, is in a one step ahead of all that, and that's what we're really seeing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of what we're seeing out there. We're not, and I got to say one thing, Ryan, on Mother's Day, I went over to Five Crowns in South County and I picked up some food. We ordered some food for my girl and my son, and we're driving down PCH there in Newport, and I'm noticing that there's people out there, they're kind of huddled around the bar a little bit. Those little bars were open, and they're actually standing on the sidewalk, yet these little tables are out there, and they are having fun drinking alcohol. I'm like, wow, this is at like 1 o'clock. There's so many people walking up and down the streets.
I just have this picture of you with your, all that hair you now have flowing through, pumping vanilla ice as you roll down PCH.
A1A.
A1A.
Oh, so yeah, that's kind of I get that vibe that people they can't be in their houses for this long. And,
oh no,
we're starting to see this little bit of rebellion happen.
Absolutely.
So I get it.
Yep.
But so Ryan, tell us what's in the news, man.
Yeah. So as we're popping through, we're getting news from 3 main factors. One is business science, one's health science, and one's people science. And so, business science is basically telling us how has the economy rebounded from similar slowdowns in the past. And really, there's nothing all that similar to this. We're in uncharted territory here. And so the best you can do is look at, you're talking, the flu 1918, you're talking about, Spanish flu, you're talking about the previous crash in 2008. They're looking at Great Depression, trying to figure out how did things recover. But we're so different than any of those time periods, both what's happening to us and the fact that we're now just this global economy. So it's kind of interesting to see, how people are trying to predict things from that. Then you got health science. So when will COVID be, under control? Everybody's talking about, hey, we need this, vaccine and stuff like that before we're back to complete normal. So it's interesting to seeing, different things come out of health science. And then you've got people science. So, after business is fully open, or even partially open, how long will it take American consumers to return to normal consumption? And as you can see, they're back at normal attitudes in certain places, and normal actions. And then there's other ones that just, like you're talking about, stage 3 here in SoCal, we're not there yet. So I know we're talking about our gym opening up next week, and it's completely redesigned, different workstations, more space. You've got an individual area, different, you've got assigned towels and they're wiping down, equipment, wiping down the whole area. So it's going to be very interesting to see that. So as you mentioned, though, in people science, everybody seems to just want to get back to normal as soon as possible. So it's very interesting to see how it's all kind of unfolding.
Yeah, and it really is. If you break it down, look at business science, health science. Well, health science is what we're hearing from doctors and scientists and experts, right? And of course, we're seeing the closing, the resistance to opening up is from that community alone, really. You're looking at the governor listening to them, and they're basically saying, hey, we want to get this under control before we open it up. But there's a whole segment of people out there saying, well, hey, I own a business. My life is getting ruined. My life is deteriorating. My financial life is.
They have anxiety. They can't sleep at night. There's just so many interesting things coming out of this because they're forced in the situation. So these are the things that we're listening to, monitoring, and watching, and obviously the impact that it has on housing. So boom, right into this chart here. This is what we're seeing based on showings. And now note that this is North America. So we've seen showings slow down in California, SoCal here. But what we've been saying all along is that slowdown still didn't impact the market much at all,
right?
Because there was always 3 or 4 buyers to every property. So when you shave off 1 or 2 buyers, you still had multiple offers on all the good properties. Things that were overpriced or white elephants, they still sat on the market until they were priced correctly, and then they moved. So now you got to remember here also, North America, you had states like Pennsylvania that were completely shut down. You weren't allowed to show properties and stuff like that. You had New York, obviously, with a huge outbreak. And so they had, pretty much shut down for operations. Mm-hmm. So now you're seeing this huge upswing over the last 4 weeks. Our upswing, we're seeing it. I know you and I talked a little bit earlier today. I somehow became the landlot of Lancaster king. I got a referral call from a realtor in Canada asking if I could take care of a friend of hers who had this lot in Lancaster, and they'd had it for 20 years and they've been paying taxes on it, and it's just bleeding them dry over all this time, and they're never going to use it. It's never going to go up in value. They just want to dump it. And so she asked if I would list it, and I was just like, yeah, it's more paperwork than it's worth. And so it sat on the market for, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months. And then somebody called and said, oh, I see you sell land in Lancaster. Can you take my lot for me? So then I get a second one. And so now I'm the Lancaster lot king over here.
The poppy princess.
Yeah, I am the poppy prince. And so one is on, right on the edge of the poppy preserve. Well, as you know, all of a sudden the poppies are blooming. Everybody's got this free time. They're all out there. So I get a flood of interest in this property. I get a buyer. Now I've got a problem. The sellers in Canada can't sign the grant deed, so we can't sell it. I've got a buyer in Vietnam who finally got around all their issues and wired the money in. So now I'm stuck. I can't sell this lot, so it's showing that it's in escrow for a long period of time. It's not because there's no demand. And then all of a sudden today, I've got another, that first lot that was a little less desirable because it wasn't on the poppy fields. It got an offer this morning, and then 4 hours later I got another call with another offer. And so it just shows you that people are back. We've got a listing in a resort community up in Lake Arrowhead, and kind of same thing. It had some snow on the ground. It was hard to show because of that. People weren't really going up. Then COVID came out. Everybody was, the first thing that they were waiting on was secondary homes, right? They weren't sure about if they could do Airbnb. They weren't gonna sure how the market. I talked to an agent today who had submitted an offer. We don't even have it listed back on the market because the seller was doing some repairs. They basically barged in while the contractors were doing construction so they could see it and write an offer and send it over. I'm getting ready to open it up to everybody tomorrow. I've got 10 people ready to show it in the next 5 days now. And she told me, she's local up there in Big Bear, and she told me between Lake Arrow and Big Bear, she's got people calling her that she hasn't talked to in 2 years. And they're saying, we wish we would have bought back then. We wish we would have had some place to go during all of this. We want in now. And so it's very interesting to see some of the, the secondary home market. The vacation home market is looking like it's poised to absolutely explode this spring market as well. So.
And it's funny because, as I talk to more buyers, they're all like saying, hey, I'm getting in now because I'm scared that I'll be out when the flood comes in, it'll just absolutely push me out, especially FHA buyers. You know, if you look at the Inland Empire, the last time I did the numbers, the average in Riverside County was 405.
Yep.
The FHA guidelines is 442, right? That's the loan limit there. And so when we're looking at those loan limits, you're pushing those loan limits. If it goes above the loan limit, you're paying every dollar out of pocket. So keep that in mind.
Great point.
You gotta really take a look at that. You know, I know that I personally live in Corona. And I mean, that's entry level in Corona is actually FHA loan limit, right? It's right there already. So don't be left out. You know, people still are a little bit sketchy. You know, if you're on the sidelines, you need to have all your paperwork in. And then when you feel the right time to strike, you better strike because it's going to go quick. So here, Ryan, hit the next slide here.
You know, while I'm doing that, I'm going to do a couple shout outs. Want to say what's up, Don Dorsey.
Don,
you know what? That is a fantastic name to see in our feed. Don is so awesome. Big USC fan. I know it's got to kill him without sports going on and waivers as well. So Don's a fantastic agent, LA market. Brought us some fantastic deals that we flipped in the past. Good senior name on here, Don. Hope you're doing well. Look forward to talking to you soon. And then Vucci says, evening, gentlemen. Good to see you on here, Vucci. Super excited for you and your new home when it gets built. Finally, I know there's like delays with construction now. Everything's been getting slowed down. She says, Mom was at my house today and she mentioned, I like Troy. He is very knowledgeable. He gave some great advice. I love it.
Good. I got a bunch of shout outs here. I want to say, Dad, thanks. Hello, how you doing? It's Min's dad. Erica, how you doing? I got to catch up with you. I definitely want to catch up with you. So I'll see if I give you a call next day or so. Jose, what's up, man? Glad to see you on as well. Looks like the Don Riley real estate team, Keller Williams, Brea is tuning in, watching. Eric Volkers, things have been busy. You know it, man. Yep. You know it. You're a real estate agent. You know, if you have a negative mindset, you're sitting at home and you're depressed. If you're a hustler, man, you go out there, you're gonna find business. They're out there.
Oh, it's so, you know, it was a great conversation we had with one of our lenders the other day. You know, we had a call, went through all of the different leads we had going on, and this thing's just like, hey, how what are you guys doing? You know, I'm working, do this work at home things just got me in a rut. Like, you know, I'm used to going out, doing things, going to the gym. And Troy, I just remember you saying, like, you just got to get up, set an alarm, and you just got to set a new routine. Go out and run, just run down the street, just get your heart rate up, get going, and just start, you know, tackling things that need to get done.
Right.
And it can get kind of tough out there. So you've got to have, you know, that winner's mindset that just, I'm going to go out and I'm going to accomplish something today and just start checking things off.
So a couple more shout outs. Jenny, how you doing? Ivan, Mark, haven't talked to you guys in a long time. So nice. Thank you for tuning in, man. Long time. It absolutely is a long time. And then Fabian Sanchez, what's up? I'm ready, man. So thank you guys. Again, you know, say hi to us anytime during the show. We'd love to have that interaction with you. So let's go look at this, which is very interesting here.
Yeah.
You know, the next chart I have is actually the end of March. We're just getting right back into it. So back in the 80s and 90s, we're looking at about 65% of all people. That was the home ownership in the United States. It peaked back in 2006, 2007 because we were giving loans to anybody and everybody, right? It just was anybody and everybody. So even though they weren't qualified, it peaked at 69%, a tad over 69. Then we saw the REO market crash. But look what's interesting here. You know, we just hit that bottom, right? And now we're just coming right back up, 65%, and we're heading up, and we're going to head up quick.
Well, and especially, you know, if we can keep loans, you know, getting funded, the secondary market intact, I think we absolutely are going to see a huge increase in, you know, home ownership, especially nationwide. You know, obviously, you know, if you're here in the Southern California market, the affordability is, you know, always been the number one factor. You know, you gotta, you know, have a good job, good income, you know, and, you know, good credit to get in. And so it's all about creating that path, you know, putting that game plan together. But, you know, it's fun, you know, kind of watching these numbers come up here, even locally. So it's good to see for sure.
Yeah, it's really good.
So also, I mean, you've got a lot of markets that, the Sacramento out there. I know our agents out there just constantly, for first-time home buyers that are affordable homes, that are good homes that they're able to get into, Fresno. There's just so many good markets out there that are healthy markets, good employment, and there's still very affordable housing. So it's good to see that. I absolutely expect this to roll up. You've got some of the lenders now coming out, United Wholesale Mortgage is trying to say, hey, we're going to have a 2.5% interest rate, and things like that. So it's very interesting to see how competitive these lenders are going to be rolling into that. And I think the lenders trying to be competitive, adding technology on and lowering costs is absolutely going to help homeownership rates rise in the near future. So. And of course,
wow! And
this is the pressure to become a homeowner right here.
Right, exactly. The rents have just keep going up and up and up and up.
Troy and I single-handedly helped that chart go up.
Yes.
So I apologize, South Central, San Bernardino, Adelanto, Anaheim.
Yeah, it's interesting that as we bought multifamily into the 2008, 2009, 2010 crash, and then we turned around and we sold them off. It's actually, we're seeing, as we were pure investors, we were just getting renters in. But actually, guys out there, think about this. This is the new trend of millennials, and I call it really millennials because they see the opportunity that I didn't see at your age, that I can actually, my first home might be a duplex. I want to live in one and then rent the other one out. Think about that.
Well, and that's a great point. We talked to one of our clients the other day, Megan, and my thing to her is, I have a fraternity brother right out of college. He bought a house, 4-bedroom, and he rented out 3 of those rooms. Then when his job shifted, he had the one person in that house he trusted the most, managed the house, gave him a deduction in the rent. He rented out his room. He went and bought another 4-bedroom house and did the same thing again. And while you're young, that's a fantastic time to do that. And he was always pretty much living for free, allowing the other roommates to basically build his equity and pay down his mortgage. And I mean, he's financially secure right off the bat. And so I was talking to a client the other day and I said, look, she's doing a 3% down conventional on an entry-level condo in Orange County. She's going to rent out a room to a roommate that she's already got lined up. And I said, what's your plan B? If everything goes wrong, you lose your job tomorrow, he can't pay you rent, and you've got to rent this out, will it cover your mortgage? She said, yeah, I'll clear it by about $200.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, that is insane. Like, that's where you want to be buying homes. If you can even get close to a break even, by the time you put in the fact that you've got tax write-offs, depreciation, and the fact that you're always paying down principal and you're building equity over the long period of time, I think that's a win. If you can get close to break even on a rental, I'm all in for it personally. So yes, we've got lots of pressure from rents constantly rising.
So everyone's asking this question.
We're closed. What do we do with unemployment?
When we advertise or we'll shoot out, tips of the day, or we always seem to have a lot of positive, but we have one guy in the crowd that says, hey, the unemployment rate, no one's working. And we're like, whoa, hold on. You guys are way too positive. Well, hold on. Let's go look at the numbers. Let's not, if we all want to listen to the radio or the television, we're all going to hell in a handbasket, right? Let's just be very honest. But no, when you actually look at the numbers, I understand there's 20, 30 million people out of work, 35 million out of work. How many are in work? Why don't we actually flip that coin? I know that number's rising on the unemployment, but actually there's still, over 3/4 of the people are still working. So let's go take a look at the numbers that for actually, this last month, this is the percentage of ownership with equity. Well, first of all, let's go look at the percentage of ownership with equity. Okay, 42.1% of the people own their homes outright.
That's so crazy.
Right? Think about that. 40. So if the sky is falling, they're not paying a mortgage.
They
right?
do not care.
They don't
which
care.
Way, up, down, sideways. It just doesn't matter. They need a roof over their head.
16 points, a little over 16%, have over 60% equity, guys. They don't care. The sky can be falling. They can sell their home and still bring home money. Still bring home money and put in the bank. And actually, if you really look at this, what are we really looking at? Less than 10% is 7. Less than 10% equity in your home is 7%. right?
Yep.
And then another 3% is between 10 and 20%. Guys, if you're in a bad situation, right, this is why foreclosures won't happen. I mean, the tons of foreclosures.
And that's such a great point. And we back to your comment the other day where people will be like, "Oh, you guys are too positive." Like, look, I would love to be negative because we made the most money in our careers
in the
down market.
Right.
You know, with our relationships with the banks. I mean, we got hand over fist, foreclosures. Any given day in 2009, we had roughly 350 listings. We were crushing it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that I want it to go back to that where it was chaos, but let's be honest. If I was excited for a paycheck, that would be the best market for us because that's what we made the most money. So it's not like we're trying to be overly, optimistic. We're calling it like we see it. We have those connections with banks, with asset managers. We talk to them all the time. We just don't see it playing out like 2008 or anywhere close to it.
Nor do they.
Nor do they. And this is why. You've got 7.3% of the people that have less than 10% equity. Okay, so if the market drops a little bit and you've got to get out, it's going to cost you 8% to get out of that house.
That's closing costs. Seller closing costs.
So if you're in this pink 6.1%, you can still get out with, roughly a 5 to 10% drop. You're going to be able to get out. Yes, the 7.3% if they need to sell, if they can't pay their mortgage. And that's the other different situation. Back in 2008, you had negative amortization option arms. You had pick-a-pays. You had 100% financing across the board. Now, you've got to have an ability to repay. So even if you're doing 100% financing, a down payment assistance, you have the ability to repay. A lot of the 100% financing programs before were interest only. The person never really had the ability to afford that mortgage. There was liar loans and things like that. Nowadays, it's a qualified mortgage. If you're doing an adjustable rate, you have to qualify at the highest, payment, possible. So even though it's a low payment now, if it went up to the max, can you afford that payment? You have to be able to afford that payment. So even if the market drops, you still have to have a roof over your head. So the majority of the people, a small drop, it just doesn't matter. Even a larger drop now, because they can afford those 30-year mortgages and the fact that they need to go somewhere else. And a lot of those people, when you've got this equity, you put real money down. You're not going to walk away from hard-earned money. And because they've been in these homes longer now, they've got roots to the community. So
yeah, and just to wrap this all up, 87% of the United States has over 20% equity in their home.
That's awesome.
87%.
That's awesome.
All right. So let's go break down unemployment. Right? That's what everyone said. That's the things that we're getting. People coming back to us who are on the fringe, that are saying they're waiting, that they're scared. They hear all this negativity from the news media out there. Of course, let's go look into the numbers that's happening. And this is the breakdown from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This isn't my opinion. This is the federal government looking at what's happening with the unemployment, right? And let's break it up. We said this before last month, and actually we're saying it again. The majority of people who are unemployed are typically in the service restaurant industry, and bartenders and waiters and waitresses and busboys. That is the majority. And as we know, that's usually the much younger crowd. In fact, I've had this conversation with men on several different, conversations with them about, hey man, when's the last time that a busboy's bought a house? When's the last time that a server has bought a house? And he's like, Troy, I don't even know. I haven't done a loan for them in ages. And so that's what we want to kind of go over if we're looking at this. Maybe call me Mr. Positive, but when we're looking at the actual numbers who's unemployed, 37.6% are that category. Ryan, what is the other 20% sitting right there?
Yeah, so this 20%, you've got others, hotels, government, construction, childcare, manufacturing, A&E, and doctor's offices.
But the other 20%, Ryan.
Where? This 20?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, temporary services and retail.
Right. So if I'm looking at it, that's 60% of everybody is now you can really group that bigger and put them in a bigger group. We're looking at servers, retail, and temporary jobs.
Service industry across the board.
Right. It literally is. And I mean, I go to the mall. If you went to the mall, in January, what do you see? You're seeing teenagers working at the mall, right? Yep. When the mall shut down, how many of those jobs were A, permanent jobs, and B, how many were jobs that people would live their life of purchasing homes or was using that money to actually pay a mortgage down?
And that goes into this slide right here that you're talking about. A majority of those impacted are younger, and they weren't slated to become homeowners for quite a while anyways. So 31.9% of teenagers are unemployed. So if you think about that, really, how is that affecting housing? It's not. So
it's literally not. And that's what we're looking at here. Okay, so after, even though, we're Mr. Positive here and we're saying all these positive things, okay, let's go really look at the economy. How do we recover? Fully recover is kind of a huge question, but how do we begin the coverage? Well, we're seeing states open, right? That's the number one thing. We're seeing the president say, hey, we need to open up more and more, but we need to have a plan.
Yep.
Right? We need to have a plan. Right here in Southern California and right here in the state of California, we have the governor that's telling us that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So we're currently, I think, in phase 2. And then certain counties that haven't had any deaths in 2 weeks is in phase 3 or 4, right? What we're really seeing out here in Southern California is a little bit of rebellion against that. Oh, yeah. Right? We're not seeing people saying, hey, no problem. I just heard on the way over here, the prosecutors in the county of Los Angeles got 60 businesses that they keep telling over and over to shut down that won't. Right? So what they're doing is they're going to some judge that isn't showing up to work, and they're asking to pull the plug on our utilities, right? Because it just there's the police don't need to be hassling those people, right? So let's go pull the plug. So that's what's happening out there. So let's go look at what actual major financial institutions, what are they saying about the coming months and the coming quarters?
Yeah, and so here you have it. You've got Goldman Sachs, obviously, is expecting a pretty large drop for quarter 2. So quarter 2, you got April, May, and June. So through the end of June, they expect a fairly substantial drop, as does J.P. Morgan Chase. We lost on here Wells Fargo somewhere, and
Wells Fargo is the actual red. So yeah. They're not very bullish on the third quarter.
I don't know what happened to the rest of the slide there, but let's see. It's not on that one either. So anyways, do you remember who Green was?
No, but as you see, these are major financial institutions. I think, and their predictions are we're going to bounce back. Obviously, in April, where pretty much the entire country was closed. In May, according to our governor, 70% is opening back up. He's not asking for 70%. According to our unemployment map, it's 40% just on the servers that aren't opening whatsoever. They're not going back to work anytime soon, according to him. But we are seeing that, June, July, August, September, we're starting to see that all come back, and so does all the major financial institutions. The ones that bet their money on our economy are the ones that are predicting positive results in the third and fourth quarters.
Yep. So, you got any shout outs there, Troy? Or any questions? If you guys have any questions, real estate related, what's going on right now, shoot it over. I've got one right here. Client was asking, so we got an offer accepted the other day, and we were told we had to wire money into escrow, but the bank wanted an appointment. Can we send it bill pay? No. So this is where we're at. If once you get an offer accepted, the way the contract's written, you have 3 days to get your money into escrow. Otherwise, you're in breach of contract, and the seller could cancel on you and move on to another buyer. So you don't want that. Right now with COVID, there are some banks, appointment only. It's harder to get in to get the wire out. If you can, it's always good to go into the bank, pay their $30 wire transfer fee. It gets sent over. You're not going to have any problems because you have a bank professional helping you walk you through it. That being said, you also always want to make sure you're calling the escrow company and verifying their account numbers and their wiring numbers to make sure that somebody hasn't hacked an email and you're wiring it now to Kenya or something. Yeah. So you want to call ahead. You want to talk to escrow so they, one, know to expect your wire, two, to confirm all the information. And then if you can go into the bank, pay the $30 fee, have the peace of mind that nothing's going to go wrong. Now, I know that I've gone to the bank recently and they didn't, kind of same thing, didn't want to do it. You can do it on your phone. So I'm like, look, I want to make sure it's a wire, not ACH, not bill pay, not Zelle, not PayPal, nothing like that. It's got to be instantaneous. And he said, no, you can do a wire. So I know that Wells Fargo now and Chase, you're able to do wire transfers on your phone, Bank of America as well. Make sure you're checking the wire transfer box if you're going to try and do it from your phone. And, I would even call ahead to the bank and make sure that it's gone through properly. Because I've had 2 clients recently that have had issues sending out the wire transfers. Make sure you have on there the escrow number. So when the escrow gets it, they know what account to apply it to as well. Otherwise, that wire can get sent back, and you don't want that. So
And to kind of wrap that all in a nice little bow, this is what really you want to happen. Exactly what Ryan's talking about, but communication is the key to that. I've had a couple clients run into the exact same situation, and they'll call me up, and I'll say, well, go ahead and make the appointment. Once you make the appointment, call me. I'm going to call the listing agent, and I'm going to explain exactly this to them so they won't think that you are a flaky buyer and that they're going to have problems with you. And if you go beyond the 3 days, they might just cancel. So make sure your agent is in constant contact with the other agent, just explaining what's holding it up. And the seller will absolutely understand what's going on and will give you, if you needed an extra day or two, we'll give you that time.
Yes. Have another one here. So talking about communication. So on that point, Troy, had a client the other day getting ready, wanted to submit an offer on a property. We talked about where we thought we needed to be to get it done. Called that agent. The agent actually communicated well, got back to me, and I was able to ask him point blank, look, this is how we want to do it. What does the seller need? What's it going to take to get it done? I don't want to go back and forth. You tell me what the seller is looking for, and we'll get that offer nice and clean over to you. And we did. We actually it was $5,000 less than we thought we were going to need to pay to get the deal done. And the listing agent had already had 2 offers. We were the last one to the dinner table, and he took ours, and he said it was purely based on communication. Mm-hmm. The client was strong, the offer was strong, the cover letter was strong, but he said it all boiled down to communication. Yeah. So make sure that you guys are communicating. Make sure that your agents are communicating with the other agents. That's what it takes to get your deal accepted in today's market. So, you have any other questions or shout outs over there?
I think we're good, right? Let's go to the next slide.
That's it.
That's the slides for the night.
That's it. Sales.
Fantastic, guys. Hey, again, if you have any questions after we close, go ahead and ask them, and we'll definitely respond back to you. We appreciate any of your comments, suggestions to us. We're very open to it. I know that off camera, you can DM us, and we'll absolutely answer all your questions. I know that's becoming a big thing right now as people are asking questions about their personal escrows or their beginning of their searches. Any of those things, we're more than happy to help you through it. We want to make sure that you have the best experience possible and you have the most knowledge. That empowering knowledge to you is going to give you the best experience and going to give you a much more painless and pain-free transaction, and that's exactly what you should be looking for.
Yep.
In this particular. It doesn't matter if it's COVID or it's in a regular market.
Absolutely. Well said. All right. Well, peace. God bless. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday in Espanol if you speak Spanish. And also on Friday, we'll have Deal of the Week as well as a standalone market update on our YouTube.
And I want to say Ryan crushed Deal of the Week last week. Unfortunately, the house was on the market for hours. But he had just got on, started to talk about it, boom, sold. I don't know, man. That was record time. That was less than That was hours that property was sold.
Well, you know, I was telling you, Troy, today, the property I listed at 130 today, I've already got 2 offers on it. I mean, the thing, you know, properties are lasting hours right now in this market. You know, if it's good, if it's moving ready, you know, you're talking hours.
Hey, thanks, Chris. I appreciate the compliment there. Guys, you have a fantastic Tuesday. I know there's a lot of options out there, but we definitely appreciate you tuning in. And you have a rest of a good night and a rest of a good week. Stay safe.
Yes, stay safe, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.